Alex Answer here. It is January 1st in the year 2018. This is our New Year's Day video. Trying to get too excited. I know that you're disappointed that we weren't doing a live from Madison Square Garden, live from the middle of the forest. We have Alex answering the dancing aerobic strippers. Now, if I knew strippers in the local area and they really, really wanted to do some sort of a live show for you, perhaps we can work that out. But no, it was a quiet New Year's Eve. Thank you for asking. No, did not fly to Vegas in the middle of the night in a private jet. No, didn't do it. Didn't get involved in Bitcoin. I haven't even bought silver. Thank you to those of you that have donated a little bit every month. I would like to get a few coins of silver at this point now that I have my land payment, i.e., rent, if you will. Kind of like rent. Of course, I'm going to own this property in 2 years. I would like to see more allies like mine in the state of Colorado, nearby areas. I'd like to travel more. You know how I'm always talking about like the solar flare effect on human society? For those that are new, one of the things that I talk about that a lot of people don't is that there are certain factors. Just like when it's warmer out, today is a beautiful day, by the way. I should record outside. I just like to keep the things that I'm into, right, private because my voice literally seems to carry for miles. It's pretty easy to eavesdrop on old Alex answering. And I do have neighbors. It's a beautiful part of America. What I'm realizing, though, is the more rural you go, the further back in time you go. And there's a positive and a negative to that, to the idea of going back in time. There's a negative and a positive to that. It should be obvious, right, to those watching, that it seems that I have more in common with big city folk than small town folk. I'm definitely viewed as a big city folk to some of the small town folks because I don't necessarily have the same skills that they do. I may look different. I may dress different. I obviously have different interests. Okay? Those don't have to necessarily be looked at as weaknesses or shortcomings. We have our pluses, we have our negatives as individuals. And I would take this advice to heart. So, we aren't machines, we're human beings, so we shouldn't be treated like machines, right? But we live in a world, and some of us, some of you, when you go to some of these workplaces and we're treated like machines and our emotions are treated like machines, we're taken out of balance from nature. So there's a reason I do what I do. I want to be more in line with nature. At the same time, is it really our nature to be in full-on isolation mode all the time? Not necessarily, but as I said in a recent video, I am convinced that this will make me a stronger person. Some of the lower emotions that I may share here and there, those are the growing pains. But I see how much I've grown. Well, I think there's been some growth in the last few months. I think there's been growth in the last year. I think that the topics are evolving at the rate that they can, and I'm not trying to pretend to be something that I'm not or to have answers that I don't. I see others do that, and that's okay. I only want to talk about the things that I'm super passionate about, the things that I feel knowledgeable about, and I don't really want to get involved in the other stuff. By the way, yes, Aaron Edmondson, I guess you messaged me at the .tv page and you post some things about QAnon. It's the latest. The bankers are going to be arrested. The politicians are going to be arrested. Meme going around. And we've seen this with George W. Bush. We've seen this with Barack Obama, really a peak of it in 2011. The banker's going to be arrested. Oh my, the bankers are going to be arrested. Oh my. And, we haven't really seen a whole lot come about from those theories. But don't put it past the current government to point its finger, although the idea of government is arbitrary. It's not like it's a personality when we say the government, the feds. It's not one person. It's not an entity per se, or maybe it is. But it's all a distraction, even those things themselves, right? they were to start picking off particular people, it would really amp up the idea of government accountability, though, in the eyes of some, you know? But for those that have been on this bandwagon that Hillary Clinton is solely responsible for all the evil in our world, which is pretty much ridiculous, or evil in our recent government's history, you know, you don't have to be for Hillary or the Democrats in any way, shape, or form to go, okay, I agree with you that she's not to be trusted. I disagree with you that it's all her fault. It's all the white woman's fault. And see, for those of you, right, that are playing in that game, you need to understand why they've made it all about Hillary. And you should be able to look at that without being a fan of Hillary. It has nothing to do with that. You could step back and go, oh yeah, this is completely corrupt. Republicans and Democrats. You can also have the foresight to go, but why are they making it all about these folks over here or this dude over here? Unless, and this isn't the first time that I propose this to you, and I'm not alone, unless the whole thing is a psyops to get people chasing their tail. I just find it sad, right? There's so many people out there that genuinely believe that there's been change in our government, change we can believe in to make America great again. Oh, people get so upset. Oh, people get so upset when I mix those two slogans together. It's offensive. But see, I'm not out there trolling anybody who's a Democrat or Republican. If there are channels out there that I don't like, you know, I've been critical of certain YouTubers that I believe are willful propagandists, right? And I've said my piece. But I'm not attacking and bullying random people on the internet, you know, like I got too much time on my hands. No, I don't have the time or energy to bully or troll random innocent people on the internet that are sharing their own political views. There are people out there that are full on calling for genocide, that are full on calling for a race war, extermination. And then there are people on the other side, right, that are putting all whites in the same box. You have a lot of these, some of the black radical channels that are starting up, not putting African Americans or blacks into a box. But in this current climate, you're going to have people of different racial, ethnic, religious backgrounds. They're going to be acting batshit. Absolutely batshit. And I believe it's my job to tell people that this is a part of the agenda. There is a global agenda. Stop calling me a conspiracy theorist now. Okay? let's not trail back. Right? People should have been learning, even if you like Russia or you're Russian or you're from Russia. I'm sure there's many beautiful things about the Russian people and the countryside, right? But there was open tampering. I don't use the language they're using with the election because I don't see that as an election. It's a selection. So when they do that, when they use that language, just so you know where I stand on the issue. Just so you know where I stand on the issue. Capiche? They are tampering with Facebook. Facebook is tampering with our... I mean, there was just a post there of Barack Obama looking like he's 20 years old holding a gun. You know, smoking a cigarette. Like, oh my God, a black guy with a gun! That doesn't make me pro-Obama. That doesn't make me pro-Obama. To note that there is still that type of race-baiting propaganda. Okay, pro-Second Amendment, unless what, a black guy or Obama is holding the gun? Just doesn't make any sense. I never liked Obama because he was a part of the New World Order. To me, it was nothing to do with him being African American or black. I think with some it is. Otherwise, they would talk about the victims of war. They will talk about how Trump is continuing the same policies. So people like the people that they want to like, whether it be of ethnicity or perception of religion. Remember what I said about Obama when he came out? He was a Muslim to the Muslims. Of course, some of you weren't watching my channel then, so it's okay. You don't remember. I said he was a Jew to the Jew. I said he was a Christian to the Christians. And there were a few other people that were saying the same thing. And it was easy to do that with Obama because, well, hey, you know, it's Obama. His first name's Barack, for crying out loud. Middle East alert, Sharia law, Obama's bringing Sharia law. And, you know, so we're past that point. We're past the point of them calling Barack Obama, mislabeling him a Muslim when he played his role in expanding the drone attacks. And they've morphed into Donald Trump's a real Christian. Or Christians using the Lord's name in vain. People like Christopher Green of amtvmedia.com, info@amtvmedia.com. And they can do this with a straight face. I also want to bring to your attention that there is a larger agenda behind Bitcoin. And it's going to lead us into a global world currency system. There is a way that people can obviously make money off gambling, whether they're doing it in Vegas or whether they're doing it on the internet. The goal is to pull out while you're ahead. Or if you know you're not good at gambling, just don't play. I probably didn't spend more than 25 or 30. I was so stressed out from the trip. I wish I could have enjoyed Vegas more. Maybe in the future I will, right? But it's gonna. I doubt it. I doubt it. I'm more likely to go to Reno, right? But I've never had an interest in gambling. That's what I'm trying to get out. My grandfather died in 2004. He was like my own father, just like a boyfriend of my mother's. So there's a strong, memory of 2002, 2 years before he died, of sitting there like a big boy up on the chair next to old Bill Nagel. And if you want to see a picture of my grandfather, type in childhood pictures. You'll also get to see a broader, number of pictures regarding family members. But that is where you can see old Bill Nagel, Nagl, of Nagel Floor Covering of Aurora, Oregon. He is no longer alive, but his building still stands. So yeah, he believed in hard work, carpentry, and horseback riding. And my grandfather was into real estate, flipping real estate. My grandfather, my mother's mother, that side of the family, this would be the Euro-Germanic side. I just bring that up to say, like, he gambled once in a while, but it was just once in a while, and he worked really hard, though, for his money. And he was very frugal with his money and how he spent the US dollar, if you will, even in his last days. So there, of course, are those that have lived through the Great Depression, and they're more frugal in some cases. And this generation, those that lived through the Great Depression, they're passing on at this point as they push 80, 90. There's going to be so many of them alive, right, that have lived through America's darkest days. And I'm not saying that those were the only dark days. I would say the 70s and 80s had those pockets of frustration with minimum wage. I mean, just picture, the pre-digital age to where you really still did have to go work out for the man or sell drugs or get involved in criminal activity or sell your body. The current economic situation and the past has led to society being shaped in the particular way that it is. It's going to be in humankind's nature to gravitate to where there's resources. Our genders sometimes and our hormones will be influencing our behaviors, not to knock necessarily men or women, but just to objectively discuss what it is. People are going to be seeking partners that are currently working. Who? Where? Is it a good job? Doesn't matter. It's about resources, zeros and ones, either dollars or Bitcoins for that matter. So we're still in the same fallen world. Bitcoin doesn't change that. It's still gambling. You could still put in a lot and lose a lot. I would like to invest personally in silver for the long term. And when I say the long term, I'm thinking, and when I start holding on to silver, those months in which I have an extra 50 or 100 to spend, I think that this would be a better use of money than just that money then going to something else. Because by being spent on silver, and I haven't invested in silver yet for several years, although I've been mentioning it. But no, I'm not betting the house, so to speak, and the monthly land payment on a little bit of silver. I'm seeing that it's down to $16.91. I'm doing a little Googling and seeing if in this town or the next town over, I can find some silver directly closer to spot price. I'll pay 50 cents above spot. I'm hesitant to jump right back into buying silver and spending $1 above spot. Or if you want to get the collectibles or like the American Men or the Sunshine Men or whatever, the American Eagle, right? Spot may be at 1680 something, but on eBay, they're still going to be wanting 18 something per coin. By the way, if anybody does want to donate just raw silver to me, find a way to reach me. Just to remind you, I'm reachable by a number of different ways. The YouTube comment section is not the main place to try to contact me. It's usually Twitter, right? Facebook, and email. If you don't have any of those accounts, it'll take you 30 seconds to sign up, probably quicker than YouTube. So just to let you know, the YouTube comment section is not the area to contact me. It's through the other channels. I still pray to the Creator, right, to meet people of like minds in the state of Colorado, despite the fact that I've been here for many, many years, and hundreds of people contact me for just free info about living off the grid in the San Luis Valley. I mean, half these people don't even realize I don't live there anymore. Half these people don't even follow my content or even share 1/10 of my views. Some of them play into the illusions of separation. Some of them identify with Democrats and Republicans. I stay away from that heavy political energy. I'm an independent. I know there's a lot of people that have been conned by Barack Obama and conned by Donald Trump, but that's your problem. That's not my problem. So I stay away from those that have these political allegiances, because once you start hanging around people with political allegiances, needless arguments will start. They'll be misidentifying contrarians as Hillary supporters or McCain supporters or whatever. If we go back to 2012, Romney supporters, right? If they're not trusting Obama, well, you must be with Romney. It just depends whether you're talking to a Democrat or a Republican. Then go ahead and say that they're against the system and they know about the conspiracy, but you still have to pick between Democrat and Republican. That shows they don't understand jack shit about any conspiracy. Oh, I listened to Alex Jones. Yeah, that doesn't mean that you've woken up to the New World Order. It means that you're like sipping on like the Jones like soda, of Jonestown, drinking the Kool-Aid, if you will. Yay! Baker's gonna be arrested. Hillary for prison. Hillary for prison. You could be like, guys, don't you understand? Your alleged anti-Fed, anti-globalism, anti-New World Order rhetoric doesn't hold up if you say you support the current president. It ain't about Trump. It wasn't about Obama. And it's not going to be about Biden or Franken or whoever's going to be running Jeb Bush in 2020. It's the same system. It's the same system. And I don't see hardly anybody on YouTube talking about these things. I'm going to summarize my words here and close, maybe come back. I would appreciate I appreciate some of the comments that have been made recently. Shout out to Trevor, a few other new viewers that have let me know they appreciate this channel and that it's a breath of fresh air. And I want to let you guys know I want to keep going in 2018. But I'm going to tell you straight up, we're in the new dark ages. We are literally, because I've been doing this 12, 13 years, and I believe that I have this sense, if you will, when there's danger, when there's not danger. I'm not saying I'm in danger per se. I'm saying many Americans that are real independent thinkers and people around the world. It could be someone in a Muslim country who's not a Muslim. He's being killed for not being Muslim. It's the same type of energy construct, but don't just think it's over there. And don't just think it's about killing someone or beheading, right? There's the same type of judgment in our own society. Oh, we're going to exile you. We're not going to give you a job if we don't like your politics on your website or whatever bullshit someone's infected with. And that is an infection. Somebody could be looking at me going, dude, why don't you just work full time and pay off your land in a year? I would love that. But I'm not going to cry myself a river every other video and remind you, dude, ain't nobody hiring me in this town. And that's a fact, Jack. I just posted something else earlier. Someone saying like, oh, I heard there might be a new grocery store coming here. That would be great. All these other people are like, no, that'd be horrible. I'm like, that'd be fine. I'd like a job right now. That'd be real nice. I certainly don't want to be told that my only options are McDonald's, Taco Bell, or Walmart. Okay. That's the American nightmare. I didn't move off the grid to go work at Taco Bell. But am I constantly looking at for some sort of opening somewhere? And it's like, when you move into a small part of America, there's beauty that you're going to come up against. It's the nature, but it's also the small town thinking. And like I said at the beginning of this video, and I'm thinking about this more, there's a positive and a negative to everything. And I've said this many times. If this area was super open, right, and a lot of community stuff going on, a lot of higher consciousness, there would be even greater demand than there currently is with regards to people moving here. that would price me out. If there are more people building here and building nicer homes, they would be stricter than they currently are. I am grateful, even though I'm isolated, I am grateful that I have made it this far. Where will I be in a few years? It's hard to say. But I know that I've made it this far. I know that I appreciate being here. I also feel, right, that there's a part of me that does need to be out in the so-called real world. It was a little bit premature to go to California, right, and spend those assets, much of it, which came from audience support, to experience one of the first vacations that I felt in a long time. And most of the time and finances and stress, right? You can even say a little bit of mild starvation, sleep deprivation. Most of the trip was spent on Greyhound, which is one of the worst places, one of the worst ways you can travel. It's one thing to go a few hours. It's another to be on Greyhound for several days straight. A few hours, not a big deal with Greyhound. Traveling cross country on Greyhound, different situation. And if you don't know what it's like, well, you just don't know what it's like. Never recommend someone take Greyhound. And if there's a way you can intervene in someone's life, like a big brother or a big sister, right? If you know there's another option other than Greyhound, go for another option. Don't think that just because you're spending money and it's Greyhound and you're spending $180 like I did one way just to get to California, that there's going to be some sort of like overnight movie or meal. Neither. There's actually a friend of mine that thought that they might feed you. No. They threaten you with arrest if they smell butt on you. That's what Greyhound is. So you spend a premium, really, $180 to go from Colorado to Los Angeles. Sure, that's not as expensive as a plane ticket. But when you look at the type of stuff that you're dealing with, I know there's gas costs, but when you look at the type of crap that you deal with, is it really worth $180 or $184? Maybe if it's a life or death situation, and you really do got to get home for the Christmas, like something out of planes, trains, and automobiles. But I just want you to know, I see myself with a responsibility, with such a unique view. Instead of get angry with you or anybody else when I feel like I stand alone, I'm thinking okay, it's my goal to pay off this land. Just in case there was a millionaire watching, that want to see me get these goals finished quicker, 6,000, 7,000, I'm not sure the exact number, but that would pay off the rest of the land. I'm on a payment plan for the next 2.5 years. But there's a place for me somewhere out there in this world. And I realize that in a lot of these big city areas, there's going to be more people that I could potentially work with, make documentaries with, if that's my destiny. And I believe that, we create our own reality to a certain degree, but we also have our destiny, that which has already been laid out for us, maybe some of it before we were even born. Maybe there is a certain sense of destiny, and I would even say free will, to where there's balance between the two. I would even say that there's destiny for the world. For example, I believe that the higher power, creator of all that is, allowed the dark ones, the Illuminati, we're not talking about skin tone, right? But the establishment, the stage 9/11, to create that disturbance and genocide within those Middle Eastern countries. And there would be that same dark side also that would be mass migrating people into certain areas. So there would be this type of reflex negative response and rise in neo-Nazi activity on social media. It's all there by design to destroy America, to make white people look like the devil by radicalizing elements of America when Muslims themselves aren't controlling immigration, nor are they destabilizing their own countries or communities. They're being pushed out, relocated with social media, Twitter, taking care of the rest. And what people don't realize when they post hateful things on social media is they put out a signal saying, this is what Americans believe now. This is the way we've been put into boxes. This is how sophisticated the propaganda is, where people don't even know when their thoughts aren't their own. Do you know when I see evidence of this even more so? When people aren't even aware of the facts. Like there may be a period of, hey, and they may not even realize 6 months go by, a year goes by, and then the narrative is shifted, and they're off to something else. And that's what people should pay attention to. You know, one thing that I do to keep myself in check? I remind myself of the things that I was concerned about 10 years ago. Now, I do think that I have a decent track record, but there may have been times like 2009, and Alex Jones was very convincing. But then there was that period of Alex Jones, just like now, with the whole, they're coming to rape you. Ah, the hand, the brown, Look at all these images that people are sharing like pornography on social, without looking at, say, what our military and our government has done to innocent people around the world. That's hypocrisy. Look it up in the dictionary. It's not right for anyone to be violating anyone's free will, whether it be rape, molestation, violence. So people shouldn't call for innocent people to be hurt. One of the things I've also been listening to is old episodes from Coast to Coast on targeted individuals. And of course, they're putting the blame on the government. They're not looking at the archons at all at these 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 early Coast to Coast AM episodes. And I would say, just like in that podcast, are some white Americans, and I put some, not all, becoming target individuals? And most people would say yes. But they think that being targeted is just hearing scratchy voices or cat sounds in the head. They don't think that it has something to do with like a widespread hate of a specific group of people that could lead to a genocide. No, they don't think that's the result of targeting. They think that's all organic. No, that's not organic. And I will tell you that to the end. It's not organic for people to hate this much, people that they don't know, simply because of existential events that are being manufactured by the powers that be, whether it be immigration, whether it be a group of people hurting another group of people. So then millions of other innocent people then get targeted and say they have a genetic disposition to hurt you or impose upon your culture. No, this is neo-Nazism, and it is rising. It has never been this strong in this country for many, many years. On this planet, we would have to go back to Adolf Hitler. The thing that people still aren't ready for is this has been going on before Trump was on the office. I'm not saying this because I was saying this in 2005. For those of you that are new viewers from the last 3 years, people that would actually even call themselves fans. Okay. I told you before to check out what I was saying 10 years ago, whether or not you did that. I'm not seeing any comments on my own videos. So you can go back to one of my very first videos that was ever put up. And I'm talking about America being spelled with 3 Ks instead of 1 C. Barack Obama was not the president yet. So folks, I'm taking you back to 2005. That's 12, 13 years ago. Okay. The events after 9/11 in Afghanistan and Iraq, stories of some of these women being gang raped by U.S. troops. I mean, you know what gang rape is, right? Okay, great. So for those that aren't concerned about innocent people being harmed, right? How can one not question their morality then, or their sanity? People wonder why I live off the grid. People wonder why I stay to myself and I don't entangle myself with other people in the alternative media or other people on the internet that aren't also vocally compassionate about innocent people being hurt. There are actually people out there that want to see innocent people hurt that will still call themselves my fan. Okay, we all know what's going on here. This is totally insane. This is totally insane. Okay, if there's one thing that they can learn from me, it's the importance of human compassion, because one day I believe that there's going to be a lot of these. It was also 10 years ago that I started to say what's been done to the Middle East is being planned for America. It's not about a particular ethnicity either doing it to you. It's not a brown man. It's not a white man. It's not a black man either. Not a Chicano. It's not a Native American. Okay. There may be certain ethnicities, right, that are hired guns to pull the trigger, but they aren't the masterminds. They're the slaves. They're the pawns in the grand chessboard. It's kind of like one of those, it's not black or white. You either believe in a soul or you don't kind of a thing, right? You either believe that it's raining right now or that there's sunlight. It's not kind of raining. It is straight sunlight outside. It is pure blue sky. So, I mean, that's another black and white. It's either raining or it's not. So in this case, there are people that actually understand, right? There's a non-human influence over our governmental structures and our geopolitical situation and immigration policy that results in racial tensions at the lower level. Well, people not even realizing there's something above the immigrants. There's something above government policy. There's something above all of that. And it is a consciousness that is holding that gun pointed at the collective mind, consciousness, spirit of humanity. That is the alien invasion. It is the takeover of our government policies. And I believe they want to keep us in the dark. I believe that's why you're hearing about this Pentagon report about spending millions researching UFOs. It's very interesting. To us, it makes us think, oh, we've been validated. Have we? Are they actually exposing the non-human agenda? Or are they creating more of this circus? Do you remember a few years ago when the whole world was, oh my God, France is going to disclose. France is going to disclose. Oh my God, Germany's going to disclose. Oh my God, the Europeans are telling us that it was all just smoke and mirrors. They're preparing us for the fake alien invasion. And some analysts say that what they've been doing is creating this massive fear, right, of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, immigrants, and they're going to switch it to aliens. I don't think that they're done with the race war stuff, demonizing particular ethnicities, immigrants. They could switch it. And I think a lot of people are praying for that have been traumatized the last few years, that just want to feel like normal Americans again, wherever they go. But I'm not so convinced that's going to happen. It seems like there's a cascade of events that we're looking at. I would never, ever consider anyone to be all that sane if they're looking at the system or the media to be targeting a new ethnic group so they have the heat off. I just want to say that as well. I do know that I was told by a black guy in Portland that at the barber shop after 9/11 happened, they were in a state of celebration because they had basically said in a collective knowing to each other that the new niggas had arrived, and they were correct. The new niggers had arrived, and they would be the Afghans and the Iraqis, and they were correct. But it's sad, right? It's sad when people think that that's the way to go. So we feel better. We have the heat taken off us. In the end, you have white people, blacks, people of different ethnicities in the same New World Order system. The only way they were able to build or are building this New World Order system and never-ending wars is by keeping the people at each other's throat and by keeping a rich stream of fake news on social media alive and well. That's why, while the grid is still up, they want us focused on division. They want us focused on trolling. They don't want the men to be men. They don't want the women to be women. They don't want you off the grid. They want you on the largest population plantations on the planet. With that, I'm going to pause and be back later.